Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steven Sensfidelity coming at you just late edition of Clown Planet News, Friday, 27th February 2026. Man, 2 months of 2026 are already down the drain. It's almost 2027. Can you feel it? It's almost 2027. We're going to have the federal selections here in no time. Anyways, 10:22 p.m. I already said Friday. Well, good evening, wherever you are. If you're in Australia, good morning. I think we'll be with you in the future soon. Next weekend is turn your clocks forward day, so you get zapped out of an hour of sleep. So get that on your mind in the not so distant future. Next week is, well, depending if you live in real states that don't have it, like Arizona, parts of Indiana. Who else doesn't have it? Somebody else doesn't have it. There's more states talking about not doing it anymore, but they're thinking about keeping the later edition, the fake time thing, so it won't be it won't be standard time, it will be daylight time. Anyways, let's get right to it. You have Elmo here. Why do I lead off with Elmo? The government breaking the law? You breaking the law in the pokey. Because this just in. IRS allegedly broke the law 42,695 times by sharing data with DHS. Yeah. Be like, again, where's that guy at that sold his image on TikTok or for the AI that he's on TikTok, he's on Instagram. Right there, that dude. Yeah. If you break the law one time, don't send your tax dollars in April. See what happens. They can break the law anytime they want. I thought this was kind of funny. This has nothing to do, but it is kind of clownish. But hey, why not?
Yeah, I can do it.
Do it.
So
Ready?
you sing it like Nanzingonya Magiti Baba Ingonyama.
Say it again.
What does it mean? It means, look, there's a lion. Oh my God.
You're joking. That is not what that means. That is not what that means.
That's exactly what it
Means look, there's a lion. Oh my! I thought that was funny. Anyway, again, we're laughing because it's going to get darker soon. The U.S. Council of Catholic Bishops, the USCCB, if you're nasty, files a SCOTUS amicus against Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship. They call Trump's order immoral and urge the justices to protect the God-given dignity by finding it unconstitutional. And of course, here's the brief right here. And of course, they used the Miracle Amendment down here. Constitution and Western tradition both affirm the establishment understanding of birthright citizenship. The U.S. Constitution states that all persons born and or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of these United States. U.S. Constitutional Amendment 14. There you go. The Miracle Amendment strikes in the church. I laughed out loud when I saw that. Obviously, because if you've been watching me any time on this, you know where I stand on the 14th, and it's the Miracle Amendment. By the way, what does it say? It's talking about the slaves. It means that anybody that was born here during that time are naturalized citizens. It doesn't mean you can fly from France, get off the flight, have a baby, declare him a U.S. citizen, and fly back to France. No, it's not how it works that way. Or how they're trying to do with the, go across the border, have a baby, come back across the border. It doesn't work that way. But apparently in our crazy Clown Planet world, it does. Now, Michelle. It's don't fall into the two-party politics. Guys in the chat, you guys are seasoned vets. Let her know that the two-party illusion about this. Okay, I'm not making fun of you, Michelle. It's just they all do that. The GOP is just as bad as the DNC when it comes to laws. They do not care. Why do you think we're about to go to war? Why do you think we have a lot of tariffs? there's a lot. No, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to be busting your chops or anything like that. Just don't get in that two-party illusion. I know too many people that do it. It's not just a damn. That's what they want you to do. They want you to think it's this party versus that party. The Yankees versus Red Sox, red versus blue. It's the same. Imagine a quarter. It's the same quarter, but two different sides of the head. Both sides get you that. Both sides will do it to you. I mean, look at it right now. It's the Calhounian dilemma, which means that John C. Calhoun, which everyone should be a fan of, if you call yourself a conservative by any stretch of the imagination, he mentioned one time that the party that is at a party will adhere to the Constitution very strongly. They become state rights guys. The people in party reject the Constitution altogether and become authoritarians. Doesn't matter what party is in charge. They do that. So they said, don't just be warned. If you say it's just Dems or just GOP, I will make sure I correct anybody that says that Clinton came out to defend Trump. Like that. Yeah, I mean, remember during the presidential breakfast 2016, you can still look it up. Type in presidential inauguration, presidential breakfast for Trump, and you will see him about 5 minutes in say, please, my good friends, Bill and Hillary Clinton, stand up, give them applause. That was a week after Lock Her Up. So let me just, because we're talking about the 14th, I had to bring up the great article back in 1957 in U.S. U.S. News and World Report by David Lawrence, There Is No 14th Amendment, because I have been accused multiple times today of being a Klansman because I said that. No joke. Just go online, look at it. I've at least a few people call me a Klansman because of this. Now I won't read the whole thing, but it's definitely well worth your reading. A mistaken belief that there is a valid article in the Constitution known as the 14th Amendment is responsible for the SCOTUS decision of 1954 and the ensuing controversy over desegregation in the public schools of America. No such amendment was ever legally ratified by 3/4 of the states of the Union, as required by the Constitution itself. The so-called 14th Amendment is dubiously proclaimed by the Secretary of State on July 20th, 1868. The president shared that doubt. There were 37 states in the Union at that time, so ratification by at least 28 was necessary to make the amendment an integral part of the Constitution. Actually, only 21 states legally ratified it, so it failed ratification. Now, you got to think about stuff like that. You got to go like, what is he talking about? You got to do you got to get back in the day, what was going on. The undisputed record, arrested by official journalists and the unanimous writings of historians, establishes these events as occurring in 1867, 1868. Outside the South, 6 states, New Jersey, Ohio, Kentucky, California, Delaware, and Maryland, failed to ratify the proposed amendment. In the South, 10 states, Texas, Arkansas, Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, and Louisiana, by formal action of their legislators, rejected it under the normal processes of civil law. A total of 16 legislators out of 37 failed legally to ratify the 14th. Congress, which had deprived the southern states of their seats in the Senate, did not lawfully pass the resolution of submission in the first instance. The southern states, which had rejected the amendment, were coerced by the federal statute passed in 1867 that took away the right to vote or hold office from all citizens who had served in the Confederate Army. Military governors were appointed and instructed to prepare the roll of voters. All this happened in spite of the presidential proclamation of amnesty previously issued by the president. No new legislators were thereupon chosen and forced to ratify under penalty of continued exile from the Union. In Louisiana, a general sent down from the North presided over the state legislator. That's where you get the carpetbaggers like this. Abraham Lincoln had declared many times that the Union was inseparable and indivisible. After his death, when the war was over, the ratification by the southern states of the 13th Amendment, by the way, the original 13th Amendment was the Corwin Amendment. Look it up. It was done by the North and Lincoln was behind it. It made slavery perpetual and the South told them to go take a hike. took an unprecedented step. Abolishing slavery had been accepted as legal, but Congress in the 1867 law imposed the specific conditions under which the Southern states would be entitled to representation in Congress. Number 7, Congress, in passing the 1867 law that declared the Southern states could not have their seats in either the Senate or House in the next session unless they ratified the 14th Amendment, coercion, took an unprecedented step. No such right to compel a state by an act of Congress to ratify a constitutional amendment is to be found anywhere in the Constitution. Nor has this procedure ever been sanctioned by the Supreme Court of the United States. President Andrew Johnson, who was a great general but a really not so great president, denounced this law as unconstitutional, but it was passed over his veto. Secretary of State Seward was on the spot in July 1868 when the various ratifications of the spurious nature was placed before him. The legislators of Ohio and Jersey had notified him that that they rescinded their earlier action of ratification. He said in an official proclamation that he was not authorized as Secretary of State to determine and decide doubtful questions as to the authenticity of the organization of state legislators or as to the power of any state legislator to recall the previous act or resolution of ratification. He added that the amendment was valid if the resolutions of the legislators of Ohio and Jersey ratifying the aforesaid amendment are to be deemed as remaining of full force and effect, notwithstanding the subsequent resolutions of the legislators of these states. This was a very big if. It will be noted that the real issue, therefore, is not only whether the forced ratification by the 10 southern states was lawful, but whether the withdrawal by the legislators of Ohio and Jersey to northern states was legal. The right of a state by action of its legislator to change its mind at any time before the final proclamation of ratification is issued by the Secretary of State has been confirmed in connection with the other constitutional amendments. Number 10, the Oregon legislature in October 1868, 3 months after the Secretary's proclamation was issued, passed a rescinding resolution which argued that the 14th had not been ratified by 3/4 of the states and that the ratifications in the southern states were usurpations, unconstitutional, revolutionary, and void, and that, quote, until such ratifications is complete, any state has the right to withdraw its assent to any proposed amendment. What do historians say about this? The Encyclopedia Americana states, Reconstruction added humiliation to suffering. 8 years of crime, fraud, and corruption followed, and it was the state legislators, and it was state legislators composed of Negroes, carpetbaggers, and scallywags who obeyed the orders of the generals and ratified the amendment. W.E. Woodward, in his famous work, A New American History, published in 1936, said, to get a clear idea of the succession of events, let us review President Johnson's actions in respect to the ex-Confederate states. In May 1865, he issued a proclamation of amnesty to former rebels. Then he established provisional governments in all the southern states. They were instructed to call constitutional conventions, and they did. New state governments were elected. White men only had the suffrage. The 15th Amendment establishing equal voting rights had not yet been passed. Senators and representatives were chosen, but when they appeared at the opening of Congress, they were refused admission. The state governments, however, continued to function during 1866. Now that we are in 1867, in the early days of that year, Thaddeus Stevens brought in, as a chairman of the House Reconstruction Committee, a bill that proposed to sweep all the southern state governments into a wastebasket. The South was to be put under military rule. The bill passed. It was vetoed by Johnson and passed again over his veto in the Senate because that was when the radical Republicans, the guys that pretty much killed Lincoln because Lincoln didn't want to do all this. In the Senate, it was amended, and I'm no fan of Lincoln. It was amended that such fashion that any state could escape from military rule and be restored to its full rights by ratifying the 14th and admitting black as well as white men to the polls. Anybody still with me? So we can blame Southerners for all this? No. It was kind of like this. All right. They said that there was no, you couldn't succeed. That's the argument, right? Well, if they couldn't succeed and nobody was actually left, if nobody was outside the union, because their argument was nobody was outside the union. So then they forced them to ratify the 14th to be back in the Union, but they were outside the Union. So you couldn't. How can you ratify something to be forced to join the Union when you're outside it? But they were saying they weren't outside it, so they were inside it. They can't admit that what the reality was without destroying their argument and the reason for the war. In challenging its constitutionality, President Johnson said in his veto message, "I submit to Congress whether this measure is not in its whole character, scope, or object, without precedent or without authority, in palpable conflict with the plainest provisions of the Constitution, and utterly destructive to those great principles of liberty and humanity for which our ancestors on both sides of the Atlantic have shed so much blood and expelled so much treasure." Maybe I will read the whole thing out. It's not that long. Many historians have applauded Johnson's words. Samuel Eliot Morrison and Henry Steele Comminger, known today as liberals, wrote in their book, The Growth of the American Republic, quote, "Johnson returned the bill with a scorching message arguing the unconstitutionality of the whole thing, and most impartial students have agreed with his reasoning." James Truslow Adams, another noted historian, writes in his famous History of the United States, quote, "The Supreme Court has decided 3 months earlier in the Mulligan case, the military courts were unconstitutional except under such war conditions as might make the operation of civil courts impossible. But the president pointed out in vain that practically the whole of the new legislation was unconstitutional. There was even talk in Congress of impeaching the Supreme Court for its decisions. The legislator had run amok and was threatening both the executive and the judiciary." Talk about corruption then, now. Actually, President Johnson was impeached, but the move failed by 1 vote in the Senate. The Supreme Court, in case after case, refused to pass on. Now, remember, the 14th is why you got gay marriage, abortion, all that stuff. The Supreme Court, in case after case, refused to pass on the illegal activities involved in ratification. It said simply that they were acts of the political departments of the government. This, of course, was a convenient device of avoidance. The court has adhered to the position ever since Reconstruction days. Andrew C. McLaughlin, whose Constitutional History of the United States is a standard work, writes, "Can a state, which is not a state," here's the phrase it pays, "can a state which is not a state and not recognized as such by Congress perform the supreme duty of ratifying an amendment to the fundamental law? Or does a state, by constitutional thinking, cease to be a state for some purpose but not for others?" This is the tragic history of the so-called 14th Amendment, a record that is a disgrace to free government and a government of law. Isn't the use of military force to override local government what we deplored in Hungary? And that was the entire South. It was a military occupation in the South. You read about the crimes. There is a book called Reconstruction by the Kennedy brothers. It is horrific what happened down here. It is never too late to correct injustice. The people of America should have an opportunity to pass on an amendment to the Constitution that sets forth the right of the federal government to control education and regulate attendance at public schools, either with federal power alone or concurrently with the states. But they're going back to what happened in the 50s. That's the honest way, the just way is to deal with the problem of segregation or integration in the schools. Until such amendment is adopted, the 14th should be considered as null and void. There is only one supreme tribunal. It is the people themselves. Their sovereign will is expressed through the procedures that set forth in the Constitution itself. So anyways, so again, there you go. Every time I see the miracle amendment talked about, I think about this. You look at it, share it with your friends going, yeah, the 14th wasn't legal. Again, you can't coerce somebody to go. If you want to come back in this union, you must okay that amendment. Wait a second, you said we weren't outside the union. No, to come in, again, it was such a mess. But this was a forced thing. And again, this is where you get Roe. They used the 14th for Roe, contraception, Obergefell, all that stuff. That's why, remember when Justice Thomas talked about after the Dobbs decision, maybe we have to revisit the 14th Amendment and things like this. There you go. You get rid of the 14th, a lot of this stuff goes away. The 14th has destroyed a lot of things going on. Hence why they did it. In another way, that people call it the 14th Amendment Constitution, because everything, that's why it's called the Miracle Amendment, jokingly. Everyone uses the 14th for anything. And again, the USCCB is trying to use it for this. Again, The reason why the 14th, the wording in the 14th only says it's straight up just about the slaves there. If they were born there, they're now American citizens. Period. Close the book. You read that thing, there's no way, hey, we get to kill our babies out of this. Huh? Where'd you get that? But again, there you go with the government, judiciary, government by judiciary. Let's move to New York City. New York City. Yes, New York City. NYPD officials partake in a Muslim prayer before eating with Mayor Zohan Bandini. And the notes underneath says these are not NYPD officers. They're part of the DSNY, New York Sanitation Department. Yeah, they have to be in sanitation to do this. As can be seen of their emblems and letters on their jackets and shirts, which, yeah, you can see that on their shirts. And it's these event, DSMV. Yeah, so it is the DSMV. Either way, hey, God's green earth. Those guys are. Hey. In airport security or airports in general, Tampa International Airport apparently put a joke out saying they are not banned. They were saying they were banning pajamas, jammies, and Crocs. Here's the thing. It's time to ban pajamas at Tampa National Airport. After successfully banning Crocs and giving everyone the amazing opportunity to experience the world first Crocs-free airport, it's time to take an even larger crisis. Pajamas at the airport in the middle of the day. Now, they're probably just joking because there's people that do dress in their pajamas going to flight. But it was a joke, but it's still funny. And see how many people were losing their minds over it. There was videos making posts going, yeah, we're the hashtag winning thing. All that stuff was going around. People took it seriously. Would it be good? Yes. But I mean, what are you going to do? Get somebody that flies out of there from Chicago? So you got to get back on that plane. But no. It's just making fun of the people that do fly in pajamas and things like that. Okay, this. Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can play it. Okay, by a round of applause, by a show of hands, do you remember all the illegals getting picked up at Lowe's and Home Depot? There was a reason why Lowe's and Home Depot. Remember, last was a Wednesday. I was playing the clip, and I told you guys I'm gonna have to watch this video later. This is that video. It showed there because it's talking about how to beat the flock cameras.
Its corporate privacy policy is an example. Its corporate large retailer or fast food chain is not using flock safety, then they're probably using some other type of automated license plate reader. But once you walk in those doors, oh my God. Let's just use Walmart's corporate privacy policy as an example. They're logging your personal identifiers, your name, your phone number, your address, your email, your driver's license number, your signature, device identifiers such as your phone or smartwatch's MAC address. They're sussing out your age, gender, citizenship, race, marital status, household income, education, unemployment information, family health, number of children, credit card numbers, and other payment information, geolocation history, photographs, audio recordings, video recordings, and, if known, background checks and criminal convictions. Oh, hang on, I haven't even gotten to the creepy part yet. Inferences, aka your behavior and preferences from your shopping patterns, intelligence, and aptitude. And they reserve the right to share any and all of this with third parties, including but not limited to, you guessed it. It's been reported that police departments have been running queries and sharing flock safety's data with ICE. Some Home Depot and Lowe's locations are also flock safety customers, and they have also been known to share flock safety's data with law enforcement. It might be safe to assume that some of the immigration raids happening at Home Depot and Lowe's locations may be connected to this honeypot of data. So when an immigrant picks up some construction supplies before work, the store will then send the license plate and vehicle identification data to flock safety. That would trigger an alert on the hot list, and just like that, masked men arrive and pick up the Venezuelan day laborer with no criminal record and ship them off to a prison camp in El Salvador. Like,
he goes on to say, can't you just sell some doggone wood? I saw that, my mouth dropped. No, what? I was trying to figure out for the last months, since all this stuff was going on, why is it the Home Depot and Lowe's? I mean, I get it that people are going there to pick up stuff, but I can't, like, there's literally every day the Home Depot and Lowe's, Home Depot and Lowe's, Home Depot and Lowe's. I go to Home Depot, I go to Lowe's all the time to get soil. Not all the time, but I don't see it all the time. There's not, I mean, there's 3 of them in the area. I couldn't believe it. And then the first day they were here was to be at Lowe's in Charlotte proper. And like, Block and Home Depot and Lowe's are in cahoots. They're customers. Ain't that something? I sent it to a buddy of mine who's he couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, this is another one. Austin Inveray, who's not that smart. This is really impressive from the USCCB. Catholic bishops arguing to a Catholic majority Supreme Court using Catholic teaching that Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship is immoral and unconstitutional. As I said on here, how is warping the 14th Amendment impressive? It's just ignorance and partisan. Again, call them out on this stuff, all of them. CNN braces for Ellison's control. By the way, my wife was telling me about she was trying to fix something on a device and she had to disconnect a VPN or something, went to CNN and she hit that CNN button or something like that. And immediately she started getting all kinds of junk mail. CNN braces for Ellison's control. With David Ellison poised to take control of Warner Brothers Discovery, a chill has settled over CNN as staffers fear for the future. The panic at CNN or Clinton News Network right now is off the charts on insider tail status. That's all, folks. Netflix walks away from Warner Brothers, refusing to raise offer. This says Paramount wins WBD. Netflix walks away. Latest news. Netflix has thrown in the towel, won't be raising its offer for Warner Brothers to match the rival bid by Paramount. Game-changing news that capped several days of action around the bidding war. $82.7 billion deal was signed with Netflix. Okay, that was back there. The drama began 6 months ago. Blah, blah, blah. Here's and I did vouch. I watched it beforehand, make sure he wasn't dropping any, what bombs.
All of this is now owned by one single family, the Ellisons. This is billionaire Larry Ellison, and this is his son David, and they've been on an absolute spending frenzy. First, they took over CBS Paramount in 2024 on behalf of Israel. Then last year, Larry Ellison bought TikTok, also on behalf of Israel. And now the Ellisons are taking over Warner Brothers for $111 billion. Keep in mind that Larry Ellison is the largest single private donor to the IDF, and he just so happens to be very close friends with Netanyahu. They wouldn't be trying to run some kind of psychological operation on us, would they?
Why can't Israel be doing some sort of, counterintelligence, information warfare like this, where they are actually doing the same type of, like a psychological operations in America?
All of this comes as, for the first time in American history, American support for Palestinians is greater than that of Israel. Probably all just a coincidence.
And just wait till the bombs start dropping. UBS downgrades the U.S. stock market. Here's what has the investment bank worried. By the way, the Dow is under 50,000, so you can talk about the Epstein case. UBS downgraded U.S. equities, saying factors that powered years of outperformance are starting to fade. The dollar risk is a central concern as the firm sees asymptomatic structural downside risk to the greenback. Another pillar of the U.S. stock strength, corporate buyouts, is also losing its edge, the bank said. Let's see what Barney has to say. I ain't heard from Barney in quite some time. I wonder how Barney's doing.
Let's begin with the latest read on inflation. This is important, and it's probably moving markets. It's the producer price report. It came in hotter than expected. Prices up 2.9% over the last 12 months. Now look at the core.
I thought everything was supposed to be lower. I thought he just told us in that TV drama that happened on Tuesday, State of the Union. By the way, what you think about the State of the Union? We talked about that on Saturday. Remember, Trump is a TV guy. He knows how to play the TV. He's been on TV. He has TV shows. He knows how to work the cameras. That's it. That's his forte right there. get up and start just yapping and jabbing and talking smack and all that. That's in his wheelhouse, baby. The thing with people watch, if you watch it, just watch it for entertainment, because you're not going to get any of this fluff. You're not going to get the Washington State of Union. You're not going to get the Jeffersonian State of Union. You're not going to get anything like that. The State of the Union, Brian McClanahan, you go to his YouTube channel, he goes into the history of it. It started obviously in England, and it was the whole thing with the Queen wanted to come in and talk to both houses, or the King and Queen wanted to come in and talk to both houses of Parliament, made this big deal about this. Washington, Jefferson, all those guys sent a little piece of paper. They were written down. They didn't want to be like that. Just send it in. Here we go. It was because of Wilson that you get what you get now, this pomp and circumstance stuff. This is the imperial presidency that we're getting right now with, here's what I did. If you had a drinking game with the word I in it, you were hammered probably about after 15 minutes. Anyways, Trump, he's perfect. But that's where he shines, right? And the people love it because they love talking smack to each other. They love the mean tweets. They love all that stuff. That was great. So when he calls them out, and there were some zingers like the whole inside trader thing, and he goes, "Where's Pelosi at? She's standing up," just stuff like that. Like, he set them up left and right, just for what they're doing. Stand up, then sit back down. Stand up, sit back down. Clapping seals, all that jazz. And he got the zingers out. He yelled back because we do say that all these guys are the same puppets, but you're not going to see Bush yell back like that. You're not going to see Obama yell back. You're not going to see Brandon yell back at that. You can't, Rick Leonard had a great line. He didn't even know he was there. He just kept going. But Trump, he engages. It's still, there's going to be lies, there's going to be falsehoods, there's going to be exaggerations, there's going to be all that stuff. But it's going to be entertaining. And it's going to be like Hacho Camacho, Mountain Dew, Pepsi Cola, because he will talk back. He will bark back at the guys, whoever's talking. Again, watch it for the entertainment purposes only, because outside of that, it's just, again, fluff. It was the celebration of the imperial presidency. And guess what? What happens when the fake left takes over the power from the fake right? What is it? 10:54 p.m., February 27, 2026. Mark this. Someone, you can record this if you want. Then I'll let you know. Here's what's going to happen if the other team gets in. They're going to do what Trump does to an exponential level, because they already know that you and him do not care about that dead document, the Constitution, since he's doing whatever he wants to do anyways, as he has said. What do you think is going to happen when the other team gets in? I guarantee they're going to pack the course right off the bat. They're going to just go all out. Because right now, because Biden did it. So they're going to say, well, Trump did it. I kind of hope they fine with it, as long as this breakup happens, because it's going to get pushed to so bad that people are going to be begging to get out of this thing, which needs to be done. This thing's going to break up, maybe not in my lifetime, but our kids' lifetime for sure. Ain't no way. It'll probably be in our lifetime. There's no way this thing lasts the way it's going to go down. It's already terrible with the imperial presidency. That started with Lincoln. That goes to Wilson. That goes to FDR. That goes to LBJ, to Kennedy, to all the guys, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Brandon, Trump, definitely. They all do the same thing. They're all wanting to be the top dog in it, and that's not what we're supposed to have. So you have that, and you're going to get worse and worse and worse. And then you get somebody that has a vendetta to go after what Trump's done. Because they're going to just take the baton and roll with it. You see what Biden did the same thing, but Trump did it to Biden. Biden did it to Trump. It's going to get exponentially worse. And as long as it breaks up, fine, bring it on.
Number. This pulls out the volatile prices for food and energy. Prices up a whopping 3.6% in the last 12 months. That is the highest reading since March of 2025. Now, look at Dow's. That's affecting futures. Go back to the boards there. We're down 526 now on the Dow, down 2.
We're lower than 50,000.
35 on the NASDAQ. Fortunately, we have David Barnson with me this morning to explain things. Is this...
the grow bananas. Bella Dixon said, who is it said make bananas? Actually, I got 2 banana trees in the back, but you can grow your own bananas. There's ice cream bananas. I can't wait. I just want to be able to have them a greenhouse so I can just keep it. You have to have bananas for 12 months without frost on them for them to grow fruit. And then it's a fake stem too. It only grows one time. And then you got to chop that thing down and other trees will come up from it. I got three of them back there. And the frost got to them. So I won't be getting any bananas this year, but one day I still have them.
Off anything to do with inflation, or is it the air coming out of AI again?
Yes, it's a combination of both. I think probably the NASDAQ is more related to air out of AI. And then remember, if the inflation number runs hot, they assume interest rates might not come down as much. That affects the valuation of expensive AI, tech, NASDAQ things. So they're connected to it. Its PPI number was not good.
No, it's not. It's not encouraging.
I thought everything was Star Spangled Awesome. What? That's what I was told. At least I heard that. I mean, surely he wouldn't lie. And by the way, if you're watching on a cell phone or have a cell phone, check out iCathyMobile.com. They use AT&T towers, but they don't give the AT&T, and you don't pay for like Spectrum or Verizon or Spirit or Sprint, who pay for their employees to go across borders to get abortion. So, hey, check it out. Hit the Ask Us thing, see the plans, switch over, give it to a Catholic group that actually gives to Catholic priests free service. So you get a service, they'll give it away as service. iCatholicMobile.com. Tensions for my English-speaking people. Tensions simmer over Howard Lutnick, Trump's favorite deal maker, Commerce Secretary, and guy that plays on the opposite team, if you catch my drift. Howard Lutnick has a knack for landing big deals, but some of his critics question whether they'll live up to their promises. Yeah, that's because he's been in the news a lot today. I think he's in the Bill Clinton. Clinton says he did nothing wrong with Epstein as he faces grilling over their relationship. I did not have. Where's Monica? Get Monica back and tell them I didn't go down to that island. Sorry, bad jokes. Boxes of pizza are now being delivered inside where Bill Clinton is testifying about his relationship with Epstein. Now, if you know anything about Pizzagate, you're just like, what? Now they're just toying with us. Oh, he's been to the island. Shoot, he's probably got a road name after him, man. Pizzas. I mean, you gotta laugh about it. Because they're literally bringing pizzas into this. It depends on what is. How you define is. Speaking of, once the future king, President DJT, and his boy toy Howard Lutnick.
Howard Lutnick. What's your reaction to that?
Well, Howard would go in and do whatever he has to say. He's a very innocent guy. He's doing a good job.
Very innocent guy. Remember, that's the guy that bet against DJT in the tariff department and made a boatload of money off it. So, again, either Trump's in on that one too, or Fury. Ban on giving food to cats spark outpouring of fury from pet lovers. Feeding is essential. Passion animal activists join forces to fight back against new law banning the most basic art of pet care. Where is this at? The proposed ordinance from California's Kern County Board of Supervisors aims to protect feral cats by preventing residents from creating known feeding spots. He was also a guy who used to work for Hillary. Yep, he used to work for Hill Dog, who's friends with DJT. Iconic Winston Churchill statue vandalized with Zionist war criminal written all over it. They don't have a photo of this? Oh, there it is. That's a very big. They make him look like the Incredible Hulk in that thing. Excuse me. Yeah, they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the dogs. Eat the cats. Derek Bros. I know it's popular among the so-called awake crowd to bash anything and everything Biden did or Brandon. I like saying Brandon. Let's get it right. But the reality is that Trump's administration is undoing a few positive things that Brandon's handlers did. Case in point, Trump's EPA announced on Friday it would revoke a set of Biden-era regulations limiting mercury and toxic air pollution, lauding it as an effort to reverse Democrats' war on beautiful clean oil. We've seen similar measures relating to so-called forever chemicals. This is not to say Brandon was a good guy or anything of the sort. I am against both parties and government in general, but the facts are what they are. There's the link for it, courthousenews.com. EPA slashes Biden-era air pollution. According to the EPA's own analysis, the repeal could result in an increase of non-mercury hazardous air pollution emissions by 7 tons in 2028. Killing the dogs, like killing the cats, kill the dog. What? Wait, I'm sorry. The Biden-Harris administration's anti-coal regulations sought to regulate out the existence of this vital sector of our energy. Zeldin said the Trump EPA knows that we can grow the economy, enhance baseload power, and protect human health and the environment all at the same time. This is not a binary choice and never should have been. Apparently, the move will save taxpayers $670 million in the form of lower everyday living costs. Who knows? They have no idea. They're talking about that for 2 years down the road. And already prices are already up. So how you say that? How you 7 down the road in 2 years? This is going to save you a lot of money. How's it right now? You're not saving a lot of money. You think, okay. U.S. military used laser to take down Border Patrol drone. Lawmakers say, "Get me a freaking laser in here. One with sharks on it." Please, someone knows that Austin Powers. U.S. military used a laser Thursday to shoot down a seemingly threatening drone flying near the U.S.-Mexico border. It wasn't wasn't those darn blasted balloons from Party City like it was a couple weeks ago. It turned out the drone belonged to Customs and Border Protection. Somebody's kid got a hold of a drone and started flying it all over the place. The case of mistaken identity prompted the FAA to close additional airspace around Fort Hynek, about 50 miles southeast of El Paso. The military is required to formally notify the FAA when it takes any counter-drone action inside airspace, U.S. airspace. It was the second time in 2 weeks that a laser was fired in the area. The last time it was CBP that used the weapon, and nothing was hit. Was Ray Charles shoot that one? What do you mean? Yeah, everyone get a drone and just start flying it all over the place. Well, everyone pretty much has one. I don't have one, but everyone at school has one. Here is a thing about Trump immigration policy. Trump student detained by ICE will be released after Mandimi meeting with President Trump. He basically told him, "Hey, look at the girl. He's done." And this is from a movie, Trump's immigration policy, and it says in here. I won't play the whole thing, but go ahead. Whoa, what are you doing? This is back to Slovenia. Hey, hey, that's Trump's doing that one. Everybody says illegal is illegal unless you're a pretty girl, then no, you get to stay, right?
Affordable. And this is true all over the country. There's a lot of good food in grocery stores that goes away. Most of the cheap cuts of meat are very inexpensive. If you buy a porterhouse steak or a chicken steak, it is gonna set you back. You can buy liver or the cheaper cuts of steak that
You can buy liver. Mr. Glyphosate himself is people can go buy liver. Georgia cops tell parents to make sure they don't pack booze in kids' lunches. That's not Capri's son. Man, you talking about having a fun time at school if you got a lemon drop martini in your lunchbox. How to spot alcoholic parents in one step. I'm not seeing a problem. Only one martini, so it shows responsibility versus a 3 martini lunch for an adult. It's gin based, so it won't be on its breath. Are we allowed to bring those to work? In dystopia news, Burger King is launching an AI chatbot that will live in employees' headsets to check if they say please and thank you to customers. And the reason why is because people in Burger King aren't really that the cream of the crop anymore. McDonald's same way. They're not Chick-fil-A, as my wife said. They are not going to say my pleasure to you. It's pretty much give me the money. Here you go. If you complain about what we gave you, we might give you something you didn't even order. You're going to like it. Your way, my way, right away. No. It's what you order, and I give you what I want, how you want it. Yeah, we're going to Chick-fil-A is going to like that. You go to any place, the competence at any restaurant, anything. I haven't been to a restaurant in a while. Any of the places are just poor. I mean, you might. It's almost like a surprise. What did I not buy today? Jason Bassler, what do Zuckerberg, Bezos, Brady, and Kushner all have in common? They all own homes on a man-made island for the 0.01% Indian Creek Island. 300 acres, private police guarded bridge. Home starts $60 million for the ultra-rich. The country club alone charges $500,000 initiation fee. 2 of the 5 richest people on the planet own homes here. This isn't just luxury, it's tax strategy. A proposed 5% billionaire wealth tax in California is pushing the uber wealthy to Florida's no state income tax haven. The rich flee taxes. We can't even flee inflation. There's just a little map of this island down here. You got Kushner, got Tom Brady, and Marianne Shula, the Chan, Zuckerberg, Sanchez, Bezos. Steve. Where am I going to live there, dude? I can't even afford the sand trap right there. I can't afford the sand in the sand trap right there. And why do you look at it? These guys got pools. Why do you have a pool when the ocean is right? Well, I know they don't have a beach, but I mean, this guy right here. It was Marianne Shula. There's a pool right there, and there's a lot right there. You could use that as a beach, right? You have a pool with the beach right there. Let's see. Trump. Where am I at? Trump seeking executive power over elections is urged to declare emergency. If this happens, do you remember that time when Trump was kind of flippantly saying this might be the last time you use elections? I'm not saying, I'm just saying he did see that before all this. Now you wonder if he was literally just saying, making sure, hey guys, I'm really going to do this. Because everyone was kind of like the people did flip out over that, but now people are going, oh, dude, he was being honest. Seeking executive power over elections is urged to declare an emergency. Jason Bassler again. Age verification isn't protection; it's surveillance. Hackers recently found Persona collects 269 data points per user, scours government and web sources for potential matches, stores them for years, and profiles users with risk scores. Biometric honeypots. What could go wrong? Man, I kept clicking off. I mean, honestly, do you really think your vote really matters now? You know it doesn't. Now, locally and state-wise, it does. But federally, I know. Why do you care? Well, it's... Mark, come on, man. The union might have already collapsed. The union. Get out of that country. Get out of the country. Your country is Iowa. Start that. Come on. Work on that. Practice that. My country is Iowa. You know who's back in the day? I forget his name. One of the founders called his country his farm. That's my country. Outside of his property, he didn't care. His country was his property. That's it. Because remember, these guys didn't go in. He didn't have cars. You stayed at home. You get horseback. You want to go from around North Carolina to DC, you want to go up there? That's going to take you a couple weeks on horseback. Trolley or whatever. Okay. Not like the roads were paved really well. You might have to broken axle after about 15 feet. But yes, their country, I think by that, my country is my neighborhood. That's it. Instagram is introducing a new tool that will notify parents if their teens repeatedly search for terms linked to suicide or self-harm. Launching next week in these United States and several other countries, the feature will alert parents when their children perform multiple searches using phrases that promote or suggest self-harm, including terms like suicide and self-harm. Also, terms like State of the Union, CNN, Fox News also would probably be, jokes aside. We know how you solve this? Be a parent and don't let your kid don't give your teenage kid a cell phone. Why would you give your kid a cell phone? Why would you give them apps? I guarantee most of you guys on here that are old my age, you didn't have a cell phone when you were a teenager. Yet you survived. How did you make it? If you wanted to make a phone call, you went to a phone. Hey, coach, can I borrow a phone? I gotta make a call. You didn't call. Your parents didn't care. You knew exactly where they were. You knew where everyone was going. You had this. You had stuff going on out here. You had to be at the right time. You knew exactly what practice was. If you want to talk to a friend, you talked to a friend. You didn't. You did. You make a phone call later somehow. So if someone calls you up, hey, someone left you a message. You got a voicemail, blah, blah, blah. You have to hit the button. Boo, boo, boo. You didn't have to. Now teens have to have iPhones and Instagram. Texas Bible-infused curriculum in chaos after hundreds of errors identified. I wonder why. You get pros and errors. Fuck. Hundreds of errors were spotted by teachers and educational officials. Oh, they're using the Trump Bible? The controversial Bible-based curriculum authorized for Texas public schools in 2024, despite significant pushback, is now set for extensive corrections after hundreds of errors were identified by teachers and educational officials. Known as the Blue Bonnet textbook, the curriculum forms part of the broader Republican-led initiatives across the amber waves of fuel to integrate more religious instruction in classrooms. While optional for schools, its adoption comes with additional funding. The curriculum was initially approved amidst concerns from religious scholars that its lessons disproportionately favor Christianity over other faith traditions, and from advocacy groups who argued it inappropriately prioritized preaching over teaching. State Board of Education recently voted 8-6 to approve the necessary changes, which encompass rectifying factual inaccuracies, correcting punctuation, and replacing images due to licensing or copyright issues. The high volume of errors immediately sparked debate among board members. Democrat Tiffany Clark voiced her dismay. My concern is that we have failed students this year who have been utilizing this product. Ms. Clark retorted, even simple typo, particularly in math equations, could have significant consequences. Let's do. Anything is juicy? Ooh, nothing juicy? There's nothing in here that tells you, like, it's not like the Kill Bible or anything like that. So, yes, the additional, it's kind of like a tax incentives. So you like say you get like a solar panels, you get a tax incentive for it. It's pretty much saying, hey, the government's telling you, hey, we the money that we illegally took from you, we're gonna give it back to you a little bit because you did the right thing. It's your money, but we took it from you and we're allowing you to have it back. In this case, it's just legal robbery. I mean, it's OPM, other people's money that they're giving you. Float it on a carrot, take it, and we'll give you money. South Kakalaki, could the 10 Commandments be in your child's classroom? The bill is headed to the state Senate. Obviously, it's not the Catholic version of it. It's obviously the Protestant version. But hey. Goes back a little bit of federalism right there, state rights. Now we just got to work on converting everybody there. FAA to start the canceled flight over here starting March. Americans are suddenly flocking to this Montana community. Here's why. At big ski resort, epic slopes meet sleigh rides. Are you listening? Stargazing and easy access to Yellowstone National Park. I forgot to bring up the Chicago Bears, Indiana, are moving. I don't know if you guys seen this. The Bears' potential move to Indiana has gone through. His effort to build a stadium in Illinois lingers. So Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority to finance, construct, and lease a stadium by a 24-0 margin. The Bears are looking to tract the land near Wolf Lake in Hammond, Indiana. The passage of SB 27 would mark a meaningful step towards our stadium plans. Now, I knew about the Bears trying to get out of move their stadium because the area around Chicago has been incredibly horrible with crime and all that. So I didn't think they were leaving the entire state. But I think they're going to keep the Bears. I think they're going to keep the Chicago name. I think maybe. I don't know. Yeah. This plant's been called nature's Valium. It can help fight anxiety, reduce stress, and treat insomnia. There's a couple I know about that. Which one are they? Oh, valerian root. Yep. I use valerian root quite often. It's in my sleep tincture. Valerian, and it smells horrible, by the way. If you just have straight up valerian root, like if you get it from Dr. Nicole's website, I had to first use water to dilute it. It was just, it will take you back. But yeah, I have it in mine. I have chamomile, valerian root, hops. Hops is a sedative too. And lavender. Am I missing anything? Lavender, chamomile. Yeah. Native to parts in Europe and Asia, valerian root has a long established history as a sedative with records its use in being dated to ancient Greece and Rome. Today, those seeking alternatives to standard antidepressants are reaching for the herbal supplement to treat conditions like social anxiety and insomnia, and sometimes even ailments like arthritis, digestive issues, and headaches. The valerian plant grows like a flowering bush that can reach heights up to 6 feet. Supplements are also made from the plant's dry roots and been crushed into capsules or loose powders and turned into teas. While the effects of valerian root on the brain and nervous system are not entirely understood, it's kind of like slows your mind down a little bit. One of the natural nerve regulating amino acids. GABA can also help manage some premenstrual syndrome cycles, according to the Jefferson Health Clinic in Greater Philadelphia. Research of the highlight valerian's tranquilizing properties, which are milder than those of most prescription sleep meds in limited studies. It's not known if it's safe to take long term. I haven't seen anything that says otherwise. But as rates of stress, sleep imbalance, and mental health disorders continue, I just use it because it's natural. It works. There's great pluses, pros, and cons. Not too many cons at all. Here is FIFA and the Board of Peace have announced they are building 55 football pitches, a FIFA academy, and a national stadium in Gaza. Let me play it right now. It's clown plan. Let me play this.
In a world where conflict has silenced playgrounds and broken routines, there is one language that still unites hearts. Football. A simple ball, a shared field, a reason to believe again. Today, FIFA and the Board of Peace come together to turn football into a bridge toward peace, dignity, and hope. Through this partnership, a complete football ecosystem will be created, FIFA and the Board of Peace will build football pitches, FIFA arenas, academies, and stadiums. This initiative will support the creation of leagues at youth, amateur, and regional level, strengthening community engagement both on and off the pitch. It will also generate diverse professional opportunities, supporting the development of local talent not only on the field, but across all areas that bring football to life. Football does more than create players and coaches. It rebuilds confidence, restores routine, reopens doors to education, teamwork, and belonging.
Those Bibby ones.
Local communities take the lead. Parents, teachers, volunteers, youth leaders, all becoming part of a shared mission to heal, to rebuild, to move forward together. Around every pitch, new emotions and long-lasting memories emerge. Community matches, fan gatherings, youth education, and sport programs. New job opportunities appear to become coaches, players, sport doctors, administrators, events organizers. We will create football ecosystem with thousands of people to be involved and engaged constantly. Together, FIFA and the Board of Peace will build, in Gaza, 50 FIFA arena mini pitches, with a cost of around $50,000 US per unit. This represents a $2.5 million investment. 5 full-size pitches in 5 different districts, at around $1 million US per pitch. A FIFA academy with an estimated investment of $15 million US. And a national stadium for 20,000 to 25,000 spectators, valued at around $50 million US. These investments will create a complete football ecosystem designed to support communities and future generations. FIFA and the Board of Peace, united for football, committed to peace.
Yes, the proposals include this. It's that was an AI video. That's
in a world where conflict has silenced playgrounds and
still playing. RT NATO will have combat cyborg cockroaches. Swarm biotactics control live insects via bioelectronic neural interfaces, equipping them with sensors and AI. Allowing coordinated swarm movement. Is NATO preparing a post-apocalyptic war between roaches? I did hear Papa Roach today. In the War Pigs edition of the program, generals singing in their masses, just like witches, half like masses. He did the meme. Marco Rubio says Iran has missiles that threatens U.S. military bases around Iran and the U.S. Navy that was just deployed near Iran. And then here's the meme. Look how close they put their country to our military bases. He did the meme. How dare Iran could blow our, okay, could shoot our wait a second, you're in their backyard. Here's, where's the button at?
צהריים טובים אדוני, השגריר עכבי אמר השבוע, ואנחנו יודעים מה מידת ההשפעה של הממשל האמריקאי על הממשלה פה, שהוא תומך בשליטה ישראלית מהפרת ועד הנילוס, אומר על לבנון, על ירדן, על סוריה. האם אתה תומך או שאתה חושב שצריך לעצור את הקריאה הזאת? תראה, א' יש לי ויכוח ברמה התנ"כית, מה הגבולות
biblical level, the original borders of Israel.
לא נראה לי שכשהאמריקאים נכנסו לעיראק הם חוו נחת גדולה.
Should include islands of Turkey and lands of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Lebanon to be great, big, and vast Israel.
הדיון הוא דיון ביטחוני. זה שאנחנו בארץ אבותינו, והסיבה שאנחנו מדינת עמדת יש עתידית כדלקמן. הציונות...
Sorry, I mean, I know you guys don't speak whatever it is. Oh, my apologies. Just cut it off, just let it through it. Here's Trump's message to Iran's supreme leader. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation. I say no enrichment. Here's Trump's claim that Iran will soon have a missile that can hit the United States is not backed by U.S. intelligence reports and appears to be exaggerated. You think? That was by Reuters and New York Times. Yes, I've heard that many times in the last week. They were all saying this. They can hit that note. That is, you talk about fake news, it is a straight up lie. Yeah, that's a great thing. And then you say WNDs. Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere, said J. Bush. Here's Colonel McGregor just revealed that sailors aboard the USS Gerald Ford have sabotaged the plumbing in order to leave the potential conflict that Israel desperately wants. It seems American soldiers does not want to die for Israel. I heard this a couple of days ago, not from him, but other people are saying that. Because you remember last show we did on Wednesday, they were talking about they were finding T-shirts and things like that in the commodes, in the pipes. Apparently, they're really trying to sabotage it and say, hey, we're now the piping does stink, no pun intended. But yeah, they're trying to get out of there. I can't really blame them. Here is Florida Congressman Brian Mast, a big-time Zionist, by the way, reacted to the breaking news of an armed man outside, Mar-a-Lago. But anyway, he's talking about also brings up, he's a warmonger of warmongers, by the way.
Lincoln carrier strike groups in place. Joining me now in this Sunday morning.
You have to end nuclear enrichment. You have to end ballistic missile program. Stop having the Ayatollah kill your people. Stop threatening the United States of America. I don't think they'll take that off-ramp. I think we end up using the capabilities of our two carrier battle groups that are in the region when that timeline hits to say the threat to America comes to an end. It's destruction or diplomacy.
What threat? What threat is going on here?
It's one or the other, and I think they choose destruction.
So just to be clear, the president has given a deadline of the first week in March. You are expecting a strike from the United States on Iran.
I expect that Iran does not take the diplomatic off-ramp and that it comes to a strike for the president to protect the homeland of the United States of America.
Hear that? He's protect the homeland. Have you woken up and going, man, I hope Iran doesn't do anything to me today? Nobody, Iran has never done, they haven't done anything to anybody before. Well, I mean, if you want to say Israel, but it's not like the Israel shot first, Iran comes up that. They're lying through their teeth. Again, they cannot wait for war. And apparently it's going to happen this week coming up. Remember we talked about last week with all the AIs picking what weekend? ChatGTP said this weekend. Claude and other ones were saying next week, or all the way to next weekend. So now let's go in with I should have just had this ready. More from Fox.
Heck, you can stretch the map. These are long-term U.S. military bases operating near Iran. You've got several here in the area of Kuwait. You got the Al Udeida Air Base, which is the largest in the entire region. That's in Qatar right here, some around the area of Oman. Heck, you can stretch back to western and southern Turkey as well and find them. All the white dots are the other bases that the U.S. has a military presence in, and you can see it here, right? In Qatar, eastern Saudi Arabia, up here in northern Iraq. So I mean, the plate is well set now in terms of bases. Now let's talk about the naval buildup, and this has been quite the armada. Earlier today, we got word that the USS Gerald Ford had moved off the coast of Israel, and then the Roosevelt now is near Crete, the island of Crete in Greece. The Canberra and the Michael Murphy are now in the Persian Gulf. All right, they are positioned, as well as the Santa Barbara and the Mitch are now there in the Gulf of Oman. The president talked about having an armada, and that's what's been assembled here now. Nearly surrounding Iran, well to the west and to the south, with Iran perhaps in its sights sometime soon. Jillian Turner is watching the movements of the U.S. Department of State, and she's got more from there now. Jillian?
Good morning to you, Bill. The U.S. Embassy in Israel now says that all non-essential staff, as well as their families, should leave the country if they are able to, if they want to, and it should happen today, Bill. This comes as tension between Washington and Tehran is now ratcheting up by the day. The vice president is going
By the way, this was
welcome
this morning.
Oman's foreign minister to the White House shortly to further discuss Iran. This comes after Vance told the Washington Post overnight the Trump team has no intention of engaging in a prolonged war, with Iran. The U.S. wrapped third round of nuclear negotiations yesterday in Geneva, a neutral territory. They spoke for many hours and were mediated by officials from Oman. Iran's foreign ministry says this. Take a listen.
Conflicting statements made by some American officials will continue to cast doubts and questions.
Iran says the talks are only focused on nuclear weapons, but the Secretary of State says that's just for right now.
Eventually, we'll have to have conversations about more than just the nuclear program.
Also on the U.S. agenda, Iran's ballistic missile program, its human rights abuses, and support for terrorists. As you mentioned, right now the Pentagon's deployed over a dozen warships and thousands of sailors to the region. 7 days ago now, at the inaugural Gaza Board of Peace meeting, President Trump started the clock.
Now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not.
You gave it 10 days back then, and the 10th days in 2 days. Did you do everything you say to me? Here's the global evacuation wave. 15 plus countries tell citizens to get out of Dodge, get out of Iran. Tensions are spiking. Government worldwide are hitting the panic button, urging their people to leave Iran. Australia, leave as soon as possible. Brazil, get the heck out. Canada, leave immediately due to the risk of hostilities. China, evacuate via commercial means right away. Cyprus, avoid all travel, leave now. Finland, avoid Iran, consider leaving Israel, Lebanon too. Germany, no travel, leave promptly. India, all citizens, students, pilgrims, exit by any transport necessary. Poland, leave immediately. If this was like a comedy, like Naked Gun or something, it would be hysterical to watch. Serbia, get out due to deteriorating security. Singapore, avoid travel, leave Iran. South Korea, do not travel to Iran. Sweden, avoid all travel, leave immediately. United Kingdom, heightened risk, staff already pulled out. United States, leave Iran now. Land routes via Armenia, Turkey if needed. In Greenland, it says go to it. I don't know what they're trying to do with Greenlanders. Just kidding. Greenland's not in on it. Plus, the UK officially withdrew embassy staff over the security mess. This isn't routine travel advice. It's a coordinated rush to clear civilians before war potentially blows up. By the way, it might also be a good idea to fill up your tanks with gas this weekend. Just saying. Yep. Because if things blow up over there, gas will go up, and not by $1 or $5. Might be really, really high. Trump says he'd love to not attack Iran, but sometimes you just have to. Once the future king, President DJT, said, I'd love not to use the U.S. military to attack Iran, but sometimes you have to. What? No, you don't. No, there's no sometimes. We haven't made a final decision on whether to attack Iran, the president told reporters at the White House. You got a lot of guys out there around Iran that they're just, what they doing, it's one of those Catholic cruises. We're not thrilled in any way they're negotiating. Trump said about the Islamic Republic, they cannot have nuclear weapons. I thought you said you obliterated that 5 months ago, 3 months ago. What happened? Let's go to antiwar.com. Congress to vote on Iran war powers bill because try to pull the maniac from going to war. Iran's foreign minister, Geneva talks were the most serious yet. Senate Majority Leader, Iran war should result in regime change. Oh. U.S. officials want Israel to attack Iran force. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, guys. Kamikaze drone unit ready to attack Iran. Israeli airstrikes kill 2 in Gaza City. Israel launches multiple attacks on eastern Lebanon. U.S. at Iraq must end Maliki nomination by Friday, or we'll probably bomb them too. U.S. to allow some Venezuela oil for Cuba. That's kind. Government to stop using Anthropic AI after Pentagram. I can't say Pentagon. After the Pentagram standoff, Pakistan says 274 fighters killed in attacks on Afghanistan. Here from the cradle, Trump advisors want Israel to attack Iran first. Let the U.S. troops get hit to muster public support for war. Wow, where have we seen that before? World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. Marco Rubio orders U.S. officials to stop commentary that could strain Iran talks. Memo came after Mike Huckabee's remarks about Israel sparked alarm inside the White House. Secret Air Force spy jet seen circling over state's home to America's missile silos amid tense Iran nuclear talks. U.S. Air Force spy jet was spotted soaring over several states home to America's land-based nuclear missile force on Friday. The Boeing RC-135W Rivet Joint is a high-tech aircraft designed to support theater and national-level consumers with near real-time on-scene intelligence collection, analysis, and dissemination capabilities. Flight tracker showed the jet departing from Air Force Base near Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha, said Peyton Manning. About 4 a.m. before heading north through the Dakotas. Trump not happy with the Iran situation, says military force is still an option. Two things you need to get confession. Engaged. Delete it. Stay away. Good advice. Three advice. Confession. It's lengthy. Do it was the screen is going off and on. Ask the cancels because a world where all is free. That's Elon Musk's theory of sustainable abundance, because all that he wants to do, everything's going to be free and you're going to get government money. 55,000 pounds of frozen blueberries were called as FDA warns of potentially life-threatening listeria risk. This is why you grow your own berries, no matter what kind of berries there are. Blueberries aren't even in season. Mine are starting to bud. But you're getting blueberries frozen right now. Who knows where they sprayed on them, put on them, where they grew on, all that stuff. Grow your own berries. And not even in season right now. So eat with the season too. But there you go. I can't wait for mine to spread. Anyway, this day in history, yesterday, we gathered to remember one of the truly great days in American history, the 1 year anniversary. Happy 1 year anniversary to those who celebrate it. The Epstein Binder Day. Couldn't help myself. This day in history, 1942, British physicist discovers solar radio waves. 2015, Leonard Nimoy died at 83. 2010, a magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck Chile. Caused more than 500 deaths. 2008, William F. Buckley Jr. died at age 82. You've probably seen some of his videos online. They're fun to watch. 1991, U.S. President George H.W. Bush ordered a ceasefire effective at midnight and declared victory in the Persian Gulf War. 1973, 200 members of the American Indian Movement, AIM, a militant native civil rights organization, occupied the reservation hamlet of Wounded Knee, South Dakota, allowing to stay until the government met AIM's demands for a change in tribal leaders. A review of treaties made by Native people, blah, blah, blah. 1968, during a news broadcast, journalist Walter Cronkite, who was considered the most trusted man in America, broke from his usual objectivity to predict that the Vietnam War could end only in a protracted stalemate. His commentary was credited with changing U.S. public opinion of the conflict. 1967, St. Kitts and Nevis with Anguilla became independent state associated with the United Kingdom. 1951, the 22nd Amendment, which effectively limited U.S. presidents to serving 2 terms, was ratified, thanks to FDR becoming that. And Trump is trying to pretty much, he's talked about just ignoring that one too. 1933, in Berlin, the Reichstag building caught fire. 1932, that was 1933. 1932, American actress Elizabeth Taylor was born in London. 1902, writer John Steinbeck was born. He was the author of The Grapes of Wrath. 1886, American lawyer and politician Hugo Black, who as a Supreme Court justice was known for his support of the doctrine of total incorporation, and a huge error. I mean, you talk about major error. Remember we read about the 14th Amendment? Yeah, all that's connected. Total incorporation, Hugo Black and total incorporation. It is incredibly wrong. It's why we have a problem. Hugo Black. The doctrine of incorporation. Look up incorporation. There's quite a few good books on that. Government by Judiciary is a great book. That it's dry. It will put you to sleep. If you can't go to sleep, read it, but you'll learn a lot. 1807, poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, known for his works as The Song of Hiawatha and Paul Revere's Ride, was born in Portland, Massachusetts, now in Maine. In 1776, at the Battle of Morris Creek Bridge, North Carolinian revolutionaries defeated Loyalists during the American Revolution, thwarting the British invasion of the Southern Colonies. God love you. Have a great rest of the weekend. See you Monday if we're not bombed by then. See you Monday on Black Pill Monday. Have a great weekend. Go to confession. Check out. I think I'm putting out like 8 videos a day anymore. I've lost so many count. A couple Bible. I'm getting the whole Bible put up online. What else am I doing? Thinking about doing a couple of new shows. Thinking about doing some movie reviews. You guys think? What do you think? You think we should do movie reviews? Catholic movie, not just Catholic, but Catholic lens on movie reviews. What else? Yeah, Substack is going. I did a couple Substacks this week. What else? I don't remember. What else? Anyway, let me know. Tell me if you think that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just do it anyways. And see how it comes out with. Anyway, God love you. Have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you for showing up. You know the drill. You know, if you want to hit the click, like, subscribe, all that jazz, go for it. It's underneath. No big whoop. Have a great rest of the night. God love you. See you on Monday.